Hi, welcome to Fusion Beads. Today we're going to be making the Beachy bracelet. This is a bracelet made on memory wire, which is a hardened steel wire that coils like a slinky. And this makes it really fun and easy to use because you don't have to worry about a clasp. You just need to make a loop on either end of the bracelet, and that's how you finish it off. So, for this bracelet, we're going to be using one of our mini palettes in the Beachy colorway, and the mini palettes come with 5 pre-selected colors in them. So we've got an opaque lemongrass, a sparkly aqua, a celadon blue, a matte light amber, and a gold line chlorine green. And then to break up the different colors in the palette, we've chosen a Tri-Bead in the aluminum silver to use. And then of course we're going to be using memory wire. So this is the memory wire bracelet size in the 2 1/4 inch diameter. And this comes pre-cut in 12 loops. So we're going to use all 12 loops for our bracelet. If you were going to want to make a smaller bracelet, you would need to have a memory wire cutter. And these cutters are specifically made to cut this hardened steel wire of the memory wire. The hardened steel wire is so hard that it would damage your regular cutters, so make sure that you have a memory wire cutter on hand in case you want to shorten your pre-cut memory wire. And then we also have a round nose plier, and that's all we need. So let's get started. Okay, so our first step is to take our memory wire and we're going to make a loop on one end. So to make that loop, you're going to use your round nose tool, and notice how there's a natural curve here to your memory wire. It's easiest to make your loop if you're working away from that normal curve. So we're going to grab on to the memory wire with our round nose pliers, and I'm working a little bit further into the plier than I normally would. You can kind of see my wire is about halfway down into the plier jaw. And I'm just going to roll. Let me see if I can get you to see this easier. I'm going to roll the memory wire away from me, turning and making this loop to finish off one end. So you can see there, I've got a nice loop finishing off the end. And that's just going to keep the beads from sliding off of the end. So to get started stringing, we're going to work from the other side, and our pattern is going to be to string 3 tri-beads and then 10 of one of the colors of seed beads. So I'm going to start using this opaque lemongrass color. I'm just going to string 10 on. There we go. And then I'll string 3 more tri-beads. And then I'm going to choose to string the next color, and I'm picking my sparkly aqua. And I'm going to string 10 of these. And then I'm going to string 3 more of the tri-beads. And the tri-beads kind of gather together and they'll kind of flip around, so they give the bracelet a little bit of texture. And then I'm going to string 10 of the celadon blue color. And you can see I'm picking up just like a little handful and stringing them on, or a fingerful I should say. 7, 8, 10, and then 3 more tri-beads. Now I'm not worrying about the beads falling down to the bottom of the bracelet. They'll naturally make their way down there to the end that I've already made the loop on. I'm going to pick up 10 of these matte light ambers. And then 3 more Tri-Beads. And then our last color, 10 of these too. And then finish that off with 3 more Tri-Beads. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on repeating this pattern of 3 Tri-Beads, 10 of each different color that came in the mini palette, and we're going to fill up this entire 12 loop piece of memory wire that way. And I'll come back to you when I'm done stringing. Okay, welcome back. How did your stringing go? I got all of mine done. So my memory wire's all filled up, and I've got about 3/8 of an inch left over to make my loop. So that's about the length that you want left. I usually say about a pinky's length, but you can also go ahead and measure that and make sure that you have about 3/8 of an inch. If you're not finishing on 3 beads, or 3 triangle beads, that's fine. You can finish on any kind of section that you want to be on the bracelet. Or if you want to make sure that you're finishing on 3 beads, you can go ahead and trim a little bit off with your memory wire cutter. So depending on how specific you want to be, you can get. I finished on the 3 Tri-Beads to kind of make it match the other end. So now I'm going to turn a loop, and remember, it's easiest to turn a loop going away from the natural curve of the memory wire. So I'm using my round nose pliers again, and I'm going to grab onto my memory wire about halfway down into the plier. And you want to make sure that it's flush, so none of your memory wire is sticking out of the edge. And you are just going to roll your round nose pliers away from you, wrapping the memory wire around the nose of the plier. You want to make a nice complete loop to finish off your memory wire. Now, if you want to add a little pizzazz to this, you can also add on some beads or charms onto these ends. I've chosen to leave mine bare. And you can see now I've got 2 matching bracelets. Ta-da! I hope you've enjoyed making this Beachy bracelet with me. You can find this project and more like it at fusionbeads.com.